my next guest here on the Rich Eisen Show, first ballot Hall of Famer and of the Seattle Radio Network, calling all the games for the Seattle Seahawks, Warren Moon. Warren, you're on the Rich Eisen Show. Again, thank you for doing it.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rich. Those are kind words coming from a guy who really knew how to spin it as well. Left throw a very nice ball, and both from up this way in Washington and Washington State. So it's nice to have a Cougar talking nicely about a husband.
Yes, that's true. That is true. Usually Washington, Washington. Yeah, usually that doesn't mix, Warren. So what do you think about 1-yard slant passes, though? What do you think about that?
Well, Tom Brady completed his first touchdown pass of the game on a slant to Brandon LaFell. So people throw slants on the goal line, and it always happens. And when you have Marshawn Lynch, I'm sure everybody's saying, well, why didn't you give the ball to Marshawn? A lot of times you just go off of personnel groupings, you go off of what you think you have an advantage on. And I think right there, New England put their goal line team into the football game. Their personnel, their big, heavy personnel on defense. Seahawks had the right personnel for what they wanted to call, but they just didn't execute the play properly. And I think that's what it comes down to. There's a lot of different things that could have happened better on that play to make it work. But you got to give New England credit for playing the play and pretty much dominating the play the way Brandon Browning was able to take on the guy, which was Jermaine Kearse, and the way the cornerback read it and jumped it because of that. So every play has a design in it for it to be successful, if it's executed properly, especially if they get the right personnel if they want on the field. But right there, the Seahawks just didn't execute it properly.
Warren, we're going to call you back. We're having some issues with your phone, but as we're discussing it here, we'll call Warren back if you don't mind, Liz, because we're having some issues with his phone. I mean, the question about, and we get Warren back on the horn. At some point, though, you got to throw the whole concept of personnel groupings and whatnot out the window, right? When you're 1 yard away from a legacy victory, potentially, because you never know what Tom Brady would have done with the time remaining, and you don't know if Marshawn would have scored. I mean, there's so many different variables in this thing. But at some point, do we have Warren back on the phone? Yeah. Warren, you there?
All that excellent analysis you didn't get?
No, we got it right up to the end there. But don't you think at some point, Warren, you got to throw personnel groupings out the window when you're 1 yard away and you do what you do with beast mode and it's for all the marbles, that it doesn't matter? Our guys on your guys are going to win the battle for the Super Bowl on the line. Yeah, I mean, at some point, this might be 2020 hindsight in itself, but shouldn't we just throw personnel groupings out the window in a moment like this?
Not when you've only been 1 for 5 in those situations with Marshawn from the 1 yard line. You're looking at that. You look at the personnel grouping that they have compared to what you've had success with in the past, and that's what coaches spend all these hours and hours of time doing, going over these tendencies, going over what's going to work best against what personnel grouping. That's how you put together game plans. But you also have to have your players execute those game plans in order to make them work. And I don't think they executed it properly to make that play work. If anything, that should have been an incomplete pass. And then the next play, you come back, you run Marshawn one time, and if you have to run him again, you run him 2 times. But at least you try it once against the goal line defense where you have the right personnel group that you were looking for. You don't think that ball is going to be picked off. You just don't. And it was a great play by the New England Patriots. But there were other things that could have went better for the play if it was executed properly by the personnel that was in the game.
Warren Moon here on the Rich Eisen Show. Fellow Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith tweeted out the only thing Russell Wilson could have done differently was object to the play call. You're a quarterback. Do you think that's possible?
I don't think he had the freedom to do that at that particular situation, but who knows? I think Russell felt good about the play. I think he felt good about his throw. If I had to critique anything about his throw, maybe you throw that ball a little bit more on the back shoulder of the wide receiver, and maybe you throw it a little bit lower because when you're down inside the red zone, you don't have a lot of room to work with, and that corner knows that, and he doesn't have to backpedal as far, so he can play the play a little bit tighter because he knows he has the back of the end zone to work with, so he can drive on the ball a little bit quicker. So if you throw a lower ball, and if you throw a ball that's more on the back shoulder, it's hard for him to jump in front of it and make the interception. If anything, it's just a breakup and a incomplete pass. So that would be my only criticism of the throw. Maybe it could have been a little more back shoulder. Maybe it could have been a little lower, so your receiver goes down, makes the catch in the end zone touchdown, or it's incomplete.
I only have a minute left with you, Warren. How do you think Russell Wilson's going to handle all this?
Russell will be fine. He really will. This guy's one of the most positive people that I've ever been around, and he'll come back next year with a vengeance. And I think this whole team will use this as a rallying cry. That we got that short, we're going to come back and we're going to finish the job next year. And this is a team full of guys like this, guys that wear their emotions on their sleeve, guys that feel like they've been disrespected, all those different things. They're going to use this as motivation for next year.
Warren, thanks for calling in. We'll chat with you down the line.
All right, take care, Rich. Always great talking to you.
Same to you. That's Seahawks radio analyst and Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.